Coming up on Sportsnight.
Northwestern welcomed back students for the start of the fall quarter, just in time to catch the football battle, the Ohio Bobcats at Ryan Field.
Shane Davis and crew opened up the Big Ten volleyball season at Welsh Ryan.
And women's soccer takes its show on the road for two pivotal Big Ten matchups. And Hallie, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to be back in the studio for the show. It's great to start the fall quarter, and let's just get right to it. It's Sports Night right now.
Welcome back to our first episode of the year and the first episode of the fall quarter. Davis, it is so nice to finally be back in our regular studio again.
It's great to be back with the rest of the Sports Night crew, and I agree, Hallie. The students are back on campus, and it's great to have sports playing right now, and because it's fall, football is in the air in Evanston. For Coach Fitz and his squad, the start to the 2021 season has certainly been disappointing, coming into the week 1-2 on the young season. The Wildcats have been inconsistent on both sides of the ball and have dropped both of their games to Power 5 competition. Against the winless Ohio team, an opportunity presents itself for this unproven Wildcat squad to establish an identity and find stability at the quarterback position. Let's get to the highlights. Northwestern opening up their third home game against the winless Ohio Bobcats. Northwestern looking to improve on its 1-2 start in the year. Let's get straight into the action here as Ohio quarterback Curtis Work runs for 12 yards. He's bobbing and weaving his way through the Northwestern defense, but the ball is fumbled and the ball is recovered by Northwestern's Coca Azuma. And then right here, Northwestern's going to take advantage of that turnover. Nice jump cut by Evan Hull as he squirts to the right side, and he finds the pylon for a touchdown. Evan Hull had a great day, over 200 yards rushing, and here's 90 of them right here. Great patience by the running back as he squirts to the second level, finds the seam to the right side, and he is off to the races. And Ohio Bobcats are staring right at the number 26 as Northwestern takes a 14-0 lead. And then here, a great tough run by number 0, O'Shawn Allison of Ohio, bobbing and weaving his way through Northwestern defenders before he's finally dragged down past midfield. But Northwestern's ground game was great on its own. Here's Andrew Clare running 32 yards down the right side as he bobs and weaves his way through the Ohio defense, and he trucks Tariq Drake on the sideline. Great physical run by Clare. And here's Charlie Kubander, a 24-yard field goal to make it 17-0, and he moves up tied fourth all time in Northwestern's field goal made in a career. And then a great sack here as Jerry Miser sacks Curtis Work to force fourth down. And here's some more Evan Hull for you. Breaks the tackle on the second level, and he's off to the races again. This time it's not a touchdown, but Northwestern is up 17-0 in the third quarter comfortably. And here, Curtis Work pass, as he looks over the middle, that ball is tipped in the air, and there's Brandon Joseph doing all-American things. He's in the right place at the right time, and he takes it into Ohio territory. A big interception there for Northwestern defense. And then Anthony Tyus III showing great patience, but he finds his way into the end zone as well. All Northwestern running backs getting in on the action to make it 24-0. And then to finish it off, here is Jake Arthur's the walk-on, a 5-yard touchdown run, plowing through the middle. Northwestern handles the Bobcats easily, 35-6.
I'm Matthew Coronado with Northwestern News Network Sports Night, and Northwestern just pulled off a huge win against the Ohio Bobcats. They had 373 yards on the ground, 216 of those coming from Evan Hull, but that wasn't the whole story for Northwestern. Their defense also came through, getting them 2 interceptions and recovering 1 fumble. Ryan Halinski, for his part, had 88 yards off of 20 pass attempts, no touchdowns and no interceptions. And the Northwestern Wildcats will be on the road next week against the Nebraska Cornhuskers to continue their Big Ten schedule. Back to the studio.
There you go. And to speak with us some more about Northwestern football is John Riker of the Daily Northwestern, the Daily's sports editor, and also on the game day coverage for the football staff. John, thank you for joining me as the first guest on the first show of the year.
So excited to be here.
And let's just get right into it and talk to Northwestern football. The Northwestern defense had a strong showing against Ohio, but Northwestern currently ranks 60th in scoring defense after being 4th in the nation last year, giving up almost 8 more points per game. Obviously, they had to replace some key contributors and brought a new DC. But what are some other reasons behind the drop-off defensively?
Yeah, I think there is definitely a learning curve when you do have a new defensive coordinator. but I would say I'd point right to the first play of the season for that defense, the 75-yard touchdown by Kenneth Walker for Michigan State really kind of set the tone and showed that there was some work to be done on this Northwestern defense. I think that kind of the big plays that's really got them in both of their losses, both against Duke and against Michigan State, something that they're really going to have to clear up. And then the communication and the fundamentals of just tackling are two areas where the Cats really, I think, would, if they can kind of shore that up, they can really kind of clean up this unit going into Big Ten play. And then I think with Adrian Martinez coming up, that's going to be one of their toughest tests of the season. Dual threat quarterback, and he rushed for over 100 yards last year, although the Cats shut him down in the passing game. So they're going to have their work cut out for them this Saturday night.
And speaking of Nebraska, Nebraska has sort of been a laughing stock of college football this year, obviously losing an embarrassing game to Illinois. But they've played close against Oklahoma and Michigan State this year. So if you're the coaching staff and Coach Fitzgerald, what worries you most about Nebraska as you head to Lincoln?
I think there is a reason that Nebraska is a heavy favorite. They played really well against Oklahoma, holding them to only 23 points. They played very well in Michigan State. They didn't win those games, but they really gave their fans reason to be optimistic. I think that if Nebraska can really harass Ryan Holinsky in his first Big Ten start, that's going to be huge. This has been a position group where Northwestern really just hasn't been solid this season. And if you have all those screaming fans and that defense that's really done well against top competition, if they can make his day, maybe force him into a couple turnovers and prevent him from getting in that rhythm, I think Nebraska would have a pretty easy time getting to their first Big Ten victory of the season.
And moving on to the Northwestern offense, NU has a new starting quarterback in Ryan Holinsky, at least for now. After watching him against Ohio, especially in relation to Andrew Marty and Hunter Johnson, what are his strengths and weaknesses as a quarterback?
Yeah, I did not think he was a major part of the 35-6 win. He only had 88 passing yards, but when you have Evan Holrein for over 200, he really didn't need to be. But I would say that one of the major reasons that Wildcat fans should be excited for him, he had chemistry with his top three receivers, 86 of his 88 passing yards going to the top three guys, and he has this SEC experience that could be, it shows that he can go into these big stadiums and win really big games. I think that alone should give Wildcat fans, that's why Pat Fitzgerald is so confident in him. He definitely is the Cats' best chance to win. The question is whether he can hold up against this Nebraska defense.
And since you're a sports editor, I'm going to assume you're an expert in all things Northwestern football. So I'm going to ask you, what happens when Northwestern takes on Nebraska and Lincoln? What's a score prediction, and can you give me a brief explanation why?
I think this Nebraska defense is playing so well. They're kind of on fire right now, both against the Spencer Rattler Oklahoma Sooners and Michigan State. However, so has Evan Hull. I think that the Wildcats are going to go in to Lincoln, Nebraska, and I think they're going to kind of take care of business, find some footing at the quarterback position. I see this going down to Northwestern 22, Nebraska 17, and Northwestern closes in on its first Big Ten win.
That would be certainly a big win for the Wildcats, and that would add any more fire to the hot seat that is in Lincoln for Scott Frost and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Thank you so much for your time, John. You can find him on Twitter at John Riker, and you can read some of his work at thedailynorthwestern.com. Let's throw it over to Hallie and Lawrence, who have a football season prediction segment.
All right, so with me here is Lawrence Price, and as you can tell, we've got the rest of the 2021 football schedule, and we're going to be going through game by game, deciding who we think is going to win, or if Northwestern's going to win, or if they're going to lose. Starting off, obviously, this weekend against Nebraska. What do you think we got?
Well, Hallie, I think Northwestern's going to have to take the L here. They go into Memorial Stadium, night game. It's going to be a big crowd. And the Nebraska defense has looked really good lately. Against number 3 Oklahoma 2 weeks ago, they lost by 1 touchdown. Michigan State, the 20th ranked team in the country, they lost in overtime. And they limited Michigan State to 71 yards on the ground. Now, NU, on the other hand, against Michigan State week 1, they gave up 300 rushing yards. And of course, week 1 and week 4 are much different. But if Nebraska's run defense is still strong like it is, I don't think Northwestern will be able to make up for these holes. And so now into Rutgers.
So for Rutgers, this is going to be the homecoming game at Ryan Field. So I think that environment is really going to help Northwestern out. I'm going to say that's going to be a win for them. It is going to be more difficult than this Ohio game, the last game they would have played at home. But I think that if Northwestern can step it up offensively, they would be able to get that win. It should be pretty easy.
And now on to Michigan. I'm going to have to give Northwestern another L. I mean, they go into Michigan's and go into Ann Arbor. And let's just say it, Michigan's offense has looked electrifying. I mean, they're led by running back Blake Corum, who has the third most rushing yards in the Big Ten. And, of course, number 2 is Northwestern's very own Evan Hull. But let's talk about consistency. Michigan on offense and defense has looked much better over the 4 games they played than Northwestern's over the 4 games. So I think Northwestern has a chance, but I'm going to have to give it to Michigan here.
All right, you're dishing out the L's. I'm going to dish out the W's for this one. For Minnesota, I think this is a pretty simple bet. I'm going to say Northwestern's going to get the win here. Statistically for this season, offensively and defensively, I think Northwestern is definitely better, and they should be able to get that win as well, especially because it's a home game again.
And what do you think for Iowa?
So for Iowa, they're a number 5 powerhouse offense right now. They have Spencer Petras as their quarterback. I think Northwestern's going to take this L, unfortunately. That'd be a big upset, number 5. But I do think it's going to be a little more competitive of a game than I think people think it will be.
And now on to Wisconsin. I'll step into the win column. I'll give Northwestern the W. Here's why. Wisconsin's quarterback Graham Mertz has looked really bad this season. I mean, against Notre Dame last week, he gave up 4 interceptions, and we know the importance of a Big Ten. If you're playing in the Big Ten, you're going to need a good to great quarterback to win. So if you're going to put all your marbles in a bag for Graham Mertz, I don't think Wisconsin's going to be happy with that. I'll give Northwestern the win and beat Wisconsin for the 2nd straight year. And now on to Purdue. Let's just face it, okay? They go, Purdue is versing Northwestern in Chicago at Wrigley Field. You got the city behind you. You got the Northwestern fan base behind you. I think that's enough enthusiasm, energy, and fuel to push the Northwestern past the Boilermakers.
And then finally for our the last game against Illinois, this is always a really competitive game, fighting for the hat. Illinois's got a good receiving core, but hopefully by the end of the year, Northwestern will have more of a consistent offense locked in. And I think that if they can get that offense on par, they'll be able to get that win. Repeat last year against Illinois. Back to Davis.
That was certainly a lot of football to cover, but don't worry, we've got a ton of non-ref sports to recap when we come back, including a special moment in women's volleyball versus Nebraska you're not going to want to miss. We'll be right back.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back to Sports Night. So obviously fall, it ties with football, but there are plenty of other teams on Northwestern's campus that are nationally ranked.
Yeah, speaking of great teams, let's get straight into some field hockey action. 13-year head coach Tracy Fuchs' squad is quietly the most impressive team on campus this fall, boasting an 8-1 record and a number 3 national ranking. They are also quite battle-tested, having opened the season with 7 ranked opponents and going 6-1 in that stretch. Last Friday, another ranked opponent in the Rutgers Scarlet Knights came to town looking for a big win. Let's see how the Wildcats fared. Let's get straight into some field hockey action here. Northwestern again playing a big-time team in the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, looking to continue their hot start of the year. We'll get straight into the action. Senior midfielder Kayla Bloss scores her second goal of the year on the ricochet off the block shot. Northwestern takes an early 1-0 lead in the second period. And then Rutgers is going to tie the game right back here in the third period as there's a goal here from Gianna Mancini from the entry pass by freshman Iris Longians. And then into the fourth period, tied at 1-1. It's a big-time game, and Rutgers is going to end up finding the goal right here after a few passes. And what a great slap shot from senior midfielder Melina Redling-Schofer off the deflection by Liz Romano. And Northwestern is going to drop a close one here to the Scarlet Knights by a final score of 2-1. A great competition, but the Wildcats do end up falling short. The fourth-ranked Cats were back in action today in the field hockey field as they went to College Park to face number 7 Maryland. The Terrapins entered the match on a 3-game winning streak, combining for 12 goals in the last 2 contests. Even with the hot hand, Northwestern was able to cool Maryland down, winning 3-1 behind goals from Maddie Zimmer, Clara Roth, and Bente Bakers. With a 9-1 record, the Cats will stay on the road heading to face Penn State on Sunday. Highlights for the game will be shown during our next show.
Northwestern Volleyball started up their Big Ten Conference play this last week. Let's take a look at how they did. If you hadn't seen the net up at Welsh Ryan yet, you need to go because last week was the place to be for Northwestern fans. First set tight score, you'll see the hit from Cornhusker Maddie Kubik right at Megan Miller. Then Hannah Lesiak makes a diving save. Ellie Stinson, another diving save, almost crashes into Megan Miller. Nebraska trying to put it away, but Temi Thomas-Ailara blocks the attack to win the point 11-10. Nebraska leads and they'll take the first 2 sets 25-21. Third set, it's who else than TTA this time with too much for the Cornhusker defender to handle. Big point for the Cats' momentum there. We'll move to set point of the third set, and this is where Northwestern displays their discipline in big moments, showing the block over there. A smart tip from Hannah Lesiak, and it's then Lindsay Krause hits out, leading the Cats to the first set win against Nebraska since 2013. But in the fourth set, the Cornhuskers and Maddie Kubik would take care of business and close out that match 25-16. Then 3 days later, the Wildcats traveled to historic Huff Hall for a battle against the Fighting Illini. Picking up the action midpoint, we've got a nice defense first from Desiree Becker on the block, then Alexa Russo showing off her digging ability, and it all leads to another Temi Thomas-Ailara kill as Northwestern took the first set 25-23 in front of the Illini faithful. Set number 2 was a different story as Illinois came holding a commanding lead the whole time. Here's a vicious kill from Diana Brown on the second touch. 25-17 set 2 score in favor of the Illini. Moving to the third set, it was more the same set point here for Illinois, and their block set up by Kayla Swanson and Megan Cooney is just too much for Thomas-Ailara. The Wildcats entered the fourth set with the match on the line, but rose to the occasion. Here's a powerful swing from TTA, one of her 19 kills on the match as she led Northwestern to a 25-21 set victory. Yet in the end, the Fighting Illini proved to be too much as Raina Terry and Kennedy Collins blocked the final swing of the match to give the match to Illinois in 5 sets. So Northwestern Libero Megan Miller, she transferred to Northwestern from Nebraska last year. This is that touching story we're talking about. She played at Nebraska for 2 years. She had some really good moments with Nebraska in their NCAA tournament. This is the first time these two teams have faced off against each other since 2019, obviously because of COVID. They never got to meet each other. So Megan's mother sadly passed away 2 months ago. As you can tell, the Nebraska team offering their condolences, giving her hugs, giving her flowers, but that was a really special moment for Northwestern and for Nebraska just to get to see her again.
And also meeting for Megan Miller, she also got to reunite with her high school volleyball teammate, Kinsey Knuckles. She's a junior libero / defensive specialist who also signed with Nebraska out of high school. The two are longtime teammates at Muncie Volleyball Club in Yorktown, Indiana. Obviously, she and Miller share a close bond along with the rest of the Cornhusker squad. This moment actually made Scott Van Pelt's #1 thing to watch on the Late Night Sports Center show last week. And to me, it really shows the true value of being an athlete and playing sports. Wins and losses matter, but it's about the relationships you form. And obviously this shows that relationships are permanent no matter what jersey you wear.
Shane Davis and company are back on the court tomorrow night in Evanston against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights as they are still looking to get their first Big Ten win of the season.
Now, this segment is a bit of a holdover from last year's modified shows we called Anchor's Choice, which allows us, the anchors, to discuss anything we want about Northwestern athletics. For my segment, I present to you a stat of the week, and that stat is -35, which represents Northwestern's football's point differential in the first quarter in its 2 games thus far against Power 5 opponents. To put it in simpler terms, the Cats have spotted Michigan State and Duke a combined 5 touchdowns after just 15 minutes of action. Against the Spartans and phenom running back Kenneth Walker, Northwestern fell behind 14-0, while against a not great Duke team, the Cats spotted the Blue Devils a 21-point cushion. Just listening to that, it's no surprise the Cats are off to a disappointing 2-2 start. But more importantly, these slow starts are especially harmful to an offense still trying to find some rhythm and identity, while also trying to establish a starting quarterback as they head into conference play. Falling behind so early forces second-year offensive coordinator to completely abandon any sense of an offensive game plan or game flow, and that is Mike Bajakian. The Cats have to take risks and try to play catch-up, and that's not ideal for a new-look wide receiver core and inexperienced quarterbacks trying to establish some confidence and consistency. For a team and coaching staff that preaches fundamental football, spotting teams' big first-quarter leads doesn't exactly follow that mantra. I'm sure I don't have to tell anybody around the program this, but if this trend continues, Big Ten play will not be kind to these Wildcats, and the number in the L column will certainly be greater than 2. But it's not quite all doom and gloom for Northwestern football. Hallie has more on that.
So my stat of the week is a little different. It's more of a financial stat. So the Ryan family now makes the biggest donation in Northwestern history of $480 million. This donation supports educational and research initiatives in the fields of applied microeconomics, business, digital medicine, neuroscience, and global health, as well as translational research at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine. The big thing that I want to highlight about this is that some of it will go towards the rebuilding of Ryan Stadium. So I'm a little bit curious about, for myself and for you, what are some things that we want to see in the new coming Ryan Stadium?
Well, personally, for me, I would like to see some permanent lighting. It'd be great to have some night games in here, and it obviously makes it easier when you have permanent lights. And I would also like to see more chairback seating to make it more comfortable for the fans.
I would also like to see, maybe knowing our press box situation, we've been up there a couple of times with us, with people from the studio. I would like to see them get, maybe some snack areas up there, some nice seating up there would be really nice. But that's a huge donation from the Ryan family. They also had that donation a couple of years back with the new Ryan Field House. So that'll be something to look forward to in the coming years as the new stadium will start to go under construction.
Don't go anywhere. We've got more non-rev action coming up after the break as we check up on the golf and soccer teams. We'll be right back.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back to Sports Night. And now we've already covered a lot of sports, but there's plenty going on so far early in this fall quarter, and we're going to head right over to the pitch and the golf course. Hallie's got more on the soccer teams.
So Northwestern's women's soccer headed out on the road last week to face off against two Big Ten opponents last Thursday and last Sunday. This past Thursday, Northwestern women's soccer traveled to take on number 12 ranked Penn State at Jeffrey Field. Northwestern earned their first goal off a corner kick. You can see here that Kaylee Titus was able to drill one in from outside the box in left field, giving Northwestern that early lead. Later, to extend their lead, we had forward Olivia Stone offer a huge assist to Josie Alucino. The Cats ended the first half up 2-0. 10 minutes to go in the game, and Penn State's Sam Coffey with some nice footwork to try and put up a shot. Mackenzie Wood was able to stop that, but Carrie Abello is there to tip that one in, and Penn State gets a point on the board. However, not enough time was left for the Lions, and the Cats would bring home a huge win on the road with a final score of 2-1. That following Sunday, the Wildcats traveled down from University Park down to Ludwig Field at the University of Maryland. A no-score first half, despite here some close opportunities on both sides. Close opportunity off a corner kick for the Cats and another close opportunity for Maryland off a free kick. Finally, in the second half, Maryland was able to get one in the breakthrough play with an assist from Alyssa Porch and the goal by Lauren Shevchik. Northwestern got on the board right before the end of the second half with a cross from Olivia Stone that got all the way through to Francesca Doctors to put that in the back of the net. With that tie, the game went into double overtime. Despite some good opportunities, nothing made it in the back of that net. So this would end as a tie in Maryland for the Cats. A win and a tie on the road. Not bad for the Cats.
Now, turning over to the men's side of the pitch, first-year coach Russell Payne's squad is currently in the midst of an early season 3-game losing streak and looking for answers on offense, having only scored 2 goals in that 3-game span. Can they get back on track this week? Roll those highlights. We're going to get straight into some action here. Big Ten action from Soccer Stadium in Ann Arbor. Northwestern again looking to snap that 3-game losing streak against the Wolverines. We'll get right into the action here as we go into the first half. Northwestern, this is a goal by senior Kevin Busa in the second minute of the game as he takes the header and finds the back of the net. Michigan goes up 1-0 early in this game. And then nice celebration there from Busa. And then we're going to go right again. A nice through ball by Michigan. And again, Busa gets past the goalie from Northwestern. Northwestern not able to deflect the ball out. And that's another goal for the senior midfielder from Michigan. But here Northwestern coming back here, trying to get on the offensive. What a shot. That ball finds the bottom of the net. That is sophomore forward Justin Weiss, straight on shot. But unfortunately, Northwestern would lose 3-1 to the Michigan Wolverines. And they surrendered a hat trick to senior midfielder Kevin Busa. And just last night, a battle of the Chicagoland teams at Martin Stadium in Evanston as a battle took place between the Northwestern and DePaul Blue Demons at Martin Stadium. Picking up the first half, it's Vicente Castro here sending the free kick, and Spencer Farina flying in with the header for the first goal of the game. Moving along to the second half, Northwestern up 1-0. DePaul is trying to clear the ball, but Northwestern keeps its foot on the gas here on the offensive as Northwestern still passing the ball. DePaul still passing the ball. Northwestern here, DePaul trying to find some possession. And then that is a great goal by Northwestern as the Wildcats, as Northwestern takes a commanding 2-0 lead in the second half. And Northwestern would end up winning this game 2-0. A great win and a great way to snap a 4-game losing streak as they beat their Chicago rival DePaul. Turning now to the Lynx, Northwestern's men's golf team turned in an impressive performance at this week's Wyndham Memorial at Lakeshore Country Club in Glencoe, Illinois. The team finished second overall, its best showing at the tournament since 2017. 2 Wildcats emerged from a highly talented field and placed in the top 10. Senior David Nifiyel and grad student Varun Chopra. Chopra fired a final round 66, good for a share of 3rd place in the event. The Cats will hit the road next week when they travel to Long Island to compete in the Hamptons Intercollegiate.
And this past weekend, the Northwestern women's golf team competed at the Mason Rudolph Championship at Vanderbilt Legends Club North Course in Franklin, Tennessee. The team placed 13th in a competitive 15-team tournament that featured several teams from the SEC and Pac-12. Senior Kelly Sim led the Cats, finishing 1 under par, a stellar performance that tied her for 7th best overall.
Certainly a lot of action there on the links for the Wildcats. While it may feel new to us to be back in the studio, a Sportsnight Classic Plays of the Week is coming right up after this break. We'll be right back.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back to Sports Night. And seeing that we don't have enough time, we're going to go straight to Plays of the Week. Roll the tape. And now coming in at number 3, this is Northwestern forward Justin Weiss here. He's going to score the great ricochet goal off the goalkeeper as Northwestern beats DePaul 2-0. Just a great finish from the Northwestern forward as Northwestern men's soccer snaps a 4-game losing streak.
Number 2, Olivia Stone with that cross we saw earlier to Francesca Doctors to score that equalizer against Maryland in the 90th minute.
And you guys knew this was coming. We're just going to let Evan Hull speak for himself. He just breaks that second line of the Ohio Bobcats defense, and he is off to the races. We didn't quite catch the shot right here, but you guys know he scored. A great touchdown run from the running back.
So that's going to do it for us here on Sports Night. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at NNN Sports and Instagram at NNN_sports, also on YouTube, NNN Sports. For Davis Johnson, I'm Hallie Devore, saying so long, have a great night.